Hi guys, welcome to this short video about how to remove the sound or the audio effects of such a bubble gun or bubble blaster. There are a lot of very similar devices on the market at the moment. They are around $10-15 or so. They really work, they are nice, they're good, they're well designed. I'm not complaining. I mean, you can just fill the soap water in here and then press and you can see it starts shooting bubbles like crazy. It's really working, everything is nice. I don't even have a problem with the lighting effects or so. They're nice for children, but if children are playing around you and you want to relax a little bit, maybe then the audio effect could definitely be too much. It's crazy. I mean, this could even bother your neighbors or so, and it would have been a great thing if there would have been like a button to activate or deactivate the audio, and it's not possible. So how to remove the audio without destroying the whole thing? So of course we have to remove the water here to prevent some spills or leaking. So I'm drying this up a little bit, and now we have to remove the batteries, of course, at least I think, or I would recommend to remove them. And now we have to open the case, and there are quite some screws here all over the place, and we have to remove them with a small Phillips screwdriver. That's the big issue here, but looks like the screws are not bad. If you have something motorized, would be even better. Unfortunately, I don't have something, so this will probably take me 5 minutes or so to remove all these screws. And you can see there are some small or a lot of small screws. They all look like the same thing, so you don't have to remember where they came from. There are so many, so even if you lose one or two of them, it shouldn't be a big problem. There are still enough to hold everything together. So this is about 5 minutes later. I have removed all the screws. The biggest problem was that a couple of these screws were already damaged, and if you don't have a perfect screwdriver, then you can even more damage these things and they could be stuck and you cannot remove them. But usually, I mean, these are Phillips screws, but if you take like a flat or slotted screwdriver, you can even remove some damaged Phillips screws. So I've managed this, and this is how this thing looks. Yeah, there were some screws. I think I have now everything, so it's definitely not too difficult to open that. One of the big problems is here. Now there is one spring here, and the question is, where does it go? So let's analyze this a little bit. We have the central part here of the electronics. Here's the board. Here we have the engine, like the electric motor here, two cables. Then we have cables here to the light, and here I think also the light, and here also two wires going to the left side, probably also light. So what's left, here's the speaker here in the center, and you can see it's magnetic, so we only have to remove this thing here, or like to uncouple here, and everything will be good. What I've noticed here is a little bit bad. This thing with this spring was removed. Now, I think this is not designed as a spring, this is just coming here. This is some kind of a connection. The problem is when you open this, that the wire is not long enough to go here. I mean, they could have made this, but probably they wanted to make this more flexible. So this is just put on top of this thing here, and then it makes some contact with this metal part here. You have to squeeze it underneath here, and then it makes contact or gives power to the central unit. So the big problem is we have only one shot, more or less, unless you want to solder these things back, but usually you don't want to do that for $10. And the real biggest problem is that you cannot test this thing. It's difficult to put the battery back and connect these two parts and then test if it works. but you can see there is something here to make connection. Yeah, I think actually yeah, now I have found this thing. So it looks like the spring goes here or on top of this part here. Yeah, go a little bit closer. So I hope you can see that the spring goes over this thing here, and so it makes contact with this metal part when you pull the trigger. So that's the thing here, but unfortunately it's difficult to test everything. We cannot just put the batteries back and then test the thing. So what I'm going to do, I mean, it's just a speaker and it has 2 wires, so we cut just one of these 2 wires. I think that's it here, that's the only thing. So I'm cutting this thing here, one of these yellow wires here. It's already cut, you can see that. Now this thing is loose and it doesn't have any connection anymore, and so it can't produce any sound. So when we put it back together, make sure that this spring goes on top of this thing here so it can make contact. Make sure that it doesn't get lost when we put it together, but I think it should be possible here. I mean, of course, it's very cheaply wired, as cheap as it gets, but I think everything is nicely back. The question is, yeah, okay, I forgot this battery holder here, or actually the lid of the battery compartment. So I have to push this thing on top, and also here make sure that this thing goes into this hole, while this thing still stays in place. I think we have everything now. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. I think it's more or less everything good. We can still use the trigger. Now let's put back all the screws. Yeah, a couple of screws are still in place, I see, but doesn't matter. I mean, we have to just work with most of them. We don't need all of them to secure this. It's just a toy. So I think I didn't lose too many. Yeah, not even a single one. So let's try to secure them again. If this thing is broken, then it's broken. Yeah, I mean, for me, no loss. But of course, if you have children, just make sure that you do this before you give it to your children first time. Otherwise, they will be heavily disappointed if it's not working again, or even if they don't have this sound effect anymore. So now the big time is coming, the moment of truth. Let's put back the batteries into the battery holder. So I think I got it right here. And I haven't tested this before. This is the first time I do that, and you can see that how this works. Everything is still working. We have the light here, we have the light here, we have the light here, and the engine is still spinning, and hopefully the pump is pumping. Let's see that, but we definitely don't have any sound anymore. So let's see if that works. Yeah, okay, we have the bubbles, we have everything back except from the very annoying sound. So it was a full success. Yeah, it took me about 10 to 15 minutes, but it's doable. And yeah, again, I would highly recommend to do that before you give this to your children the first time, because after that you can't do that anymore, or I mean, it's a big risk, and it could turn into huge disappointment when they don't have this crazy sound effect anymore. But apart from that, it's working, it's doable, and I wish you good luck with that. For me it worked, and I hope it will work for you too. So if you have any questions or comments or better solutions, whatever you have, please write everything down into the feedback area. I'm always happy to talk about these things, and if you like the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.